The talking, nagging, lucha watching, puro viewing, indie supporting, drinking, cursing, son of a gun of a podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty and co-host Ike Isaacs as they talk wrestling and interview those within the business, bringing positivity back to pro wrestling. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
And welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. This is your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us, however you do, whether it be iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And whichever way you do, please make sure you subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share. And if you listen to us through iTunes, please rate and review us. It does help. Please visit DaveDynasty.com for all of our social media links. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. And while you're there, you can check out our sponsors, LuchaMaskUSA.com, LuchaLoot.com, LuchaShop.com, and you can also find our High Spots and Amazon.com affiliates. And the best way to support us, you can find a link there for Pro Wrestling Tees. Go and buy a shirt. We do thank you for joining us this week. We have a great interview, another episode of what we're calling the Legends of Indiana Wrestling, this time with the legendary Hustler Rip Rogers, one of the greatest minds ever in professional wrestling. He holds nothing back, as always, and this is a great, great interview that you're going to want to hear. He talks about everything there is, and you're not going to want to miss a second of that. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. We're adding some old WWA All-Star Championship Wrestling from Indiana episodes on there, just purely because that's kind of a passion of mine, the old WWA stuff with Dick the Bruiser and all. I love it, so I'm sharing episodes of the TV show and different things I have in my collection. I got lots of stuff. So I want to periodically post and share that stuff. So make sure you share it as well. And let's get the word out there. Let's share all the great action and history of Indiana wrestling and what it is. Rip Rogers is part of that history. He is from Indiana, from Seymour, Indiana. He talks about that in the interview. Some good stuff. So it is an extra long interview. So we're going to take a break and get right to it. Following the interview, we will have some wisdom from Mance Warner. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have that interview with the legendary Hustler Rip Rogers. So stick around.
Visit LuchaMaskUSA.com for official high-quality Lucha masks and merchandise, straight from the luchadors themselves. They have a huge and always growing inventory, so check back often. That's LuchaMaskUSA.com.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am Ike Isaacs, and today I am joined with yet again another legend, the Hustler, Rip Rogers. How are we doing today?
I'm up here living the dream, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So we're just going to hit the ground running. So you're from Seymour, Indiana.
You're not going to hold that against me, are you?
I will not hold it against you.
Okay.
What was your childhood like in there, that small town of Indiana?
Well, what town are you from?
I'm from Columbus.
Okay, so small town. Well, not that much
It's all
different.
small towns.
They're all small towns. Indiana, pretty much. But it was basically small town America. Drive around town on the weekends, go to the boys' club, play slow pitch softball, do more shit at the boys' club and more shit at the boys' club, and watch TV, watch Popeye and Janie and Sammy Terry, and watch Dick the Bruiser on television.
Right on. Pretty simple, pretty simple. So you mentioned a couple things there, but did you play any other sports when you were younger?
Well, I tried to. I ended up played, baseball all through high school, football all through high school, then went to college and played 4 years of football, 4 years of baseball, and scored 2 points in basketball in college. So that was the greatest achievement, to score 2 points in basketball.
So obviously, for people who don't know, like I said, you are a legend. So obviously, you had to start somewhere with your love for wrestling. So what were your first memories of wrestling as a kid?
My grandpa, Kurt Judd, took me to the old Seymour gym. Hell, it must have been about 1960. I was about probably 7 years old. I remember watching Dick the Bruiser wrestle Cowboy Bob Ellis. I remember the Bernetti brothers were there. God, I can't think of what else, but the whole thing was that was the last match they had at the high school there, because I guess Bruiser trashed the dressing rooms, and they put a law, or in the school board, there's no more wrestling to be had at the Seymour High School, and it stayed that way till I ran some shows there, and once a year they would waive the rule, and we'd have a show there.
So definitely, I mean, he's pretty well known for getting in trouble. Dick the Bruiser is.
Well, his mommy was head of whatever party it was. I can't remember, Democrat or Republican. So anything, if he got a little bit of trouble, he always got his way out of it. He was a very unique individual, put it that way.
Oh yeah. So you did mention a couple names there, but I didn't know if you had any wrestlers that you really looked up to when you were a kid. I know you obviously mentioned a few, but I didn't know if there were any others.
Well, you got to remember, at that time, there wasn't no cable TV. And at that time, you'd have to get just the antenna to get... Now, Seymour was in the middle between Louisville and Indianapolis, so we actually got Indianapolis channels and Louisville channels. But I grew up on watching Bruisers wrestling at Indianapolis.
Okay.
On the old black and white TV.
So, yeah, as I definitely think that was kind of like a hot spot there for a minute, where you got the best of both worlds, it seems. So,
I'd watch later on, and you get you change the antenna. Hell, I could get Sheik's wrestling real barely out of Cincinnati. I get Bruisers wrestling. Sometimes you could get wrestling out of Chicago on a late night, and then you could get Phil Golden's All-Star Wrestling out of Paducah, Kentucky, late at night, and then you had the Nick Goulas wrestling out of Louisville.
All right, on. So it looks like your childhood definitely you had a lot of exposure to wrestling, both in terms of live events, but also in terms of televised. But when was the moment that you decided that you wanted to wrestle? When was it that you said that this is something you wanted to do?
Hell, I don't know. There wasn't no gong that went off or an official thing. But when I was in high school. When I was a senior in high school, I wrote in the Seymour Owl newspaper that I was going to go to college, play football, that I was going to be a championship wrestler.
Right on. And then also, along with what you did, you also were a pretty avid bodybuilder. When did that become a passion for you?
Well, when you was a fat kid, I was a fat kid. So all of a sudden, I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking in the mirror, my goddamn ass and my belly's bigger than my chest because I was eating nothing. Hell, my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side, hell, they owned a little grocery store. Kurt Judd's Southside Market on Broadway Street in Seymour. So hell, I was over there, so I could eat all the junk food I wanted all the time. So then when I was 14, though, I was at the pipe shop in Seymour looking at All-American magazine and Muscle Builder Muscle Power, and there was Sergio Oliva on the cover. My God. Then all of a sudden I had to figure out how to get me some muscles. So I got me a Ted Williams set from Sears, 165 pounds for 8th grade graduation, and started lifting. I made a wooden bench, and I got the magazines every month, and I would just do what they did with no real equipment. So, and then when my sophomore year at Seymour High School, they built that big gym, and they had Universal there. So hell, so when I was graduating, I weighed about 200 pounds, and hell, when I was 18 years old, I had an 18-inch arm because I was nuts, just training.
Wow. So as well, before we move on too far, before you wrestled, you know, you did all this stuff obviously in high school, and you did all kinds of you did the bodybuilding, you did the sports, but also before you wrestled, in my notes it says that you were also a teacher, correct?
Well, after I graduated from college, I was trying to figure. Well, first of all, I was trying to figure out how to be a wrestler, and there wasn't wrestling schools the way they are now. When I was in college, I wrote a letter to Vern Gagne, and he wrote me back, accepted me into his school, which his school was basically you'd work on his farm, and he'd take you out in his barn, and him and Billy Robinson, the Iron Sheik, would stretch you and break your nose, break your ribs, or whatever to see how tough you were. But I'd bullshit my way in, and I didn't have to go through that. Or I'd have probably never made it to begin with because it'd been too hard.
Okay. But then, so then obviously when you're trying to figure out how to be a professional wrestler, you probably had to make money. So is that when the teaching kind of came into it?
Well, it was just, you go to college to stay out of the Vietnam War.
Okay.
Because you flunk out, they'd draft you and throw your ass on the line, you might get shot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to college, and in the summertime, my dad was buddies with the mayors. They played poker on Friday nights. So hell, I'd work for the street department, the sewer department, out the airport, and finally I got to work the park and rec and do the ball diamonds and shit, and hang out with other guys my age. So that was pretty cool. Then I went off to college, and I started teaching, and in the meantime, I found out this Tom Zupancic was a buddy of mine. Well, Tom Zupancic was Zupo, who was with the Colts I don't know how many years, as a strength coach, director of business development, etc. And he was on the Olympic team for wrestling, Greco-Roman super heavyweight in 1980. The year they didn't go because of Afghanistan, he was the alternate. He wasn't the main guy, but he was the alternate. But he told me he saw something in Indianapolis Star and said wanted sparring partners for wrestling.
Okay.
So I went down to this old building. It was a VFW club in Michigan. I took my buddy Woody's car. We'd go down there, and there was some old guy named Masher Stevens. Now, Masher had a ring in the VFW club, and he wasn't a real wrestler. He was just playing like we were. So we didn't teach anything. We had no real instruction. There was about 5 or 6 guys that ended up being pros out of that place, though. But we never had any instruction. It was just a ring. So we get in there and start doing shit like we saw on TV. So I met this guy named Steve Cooper, who was Randy Savage's manager. So I met him. So now I'm teaching school. I'm a football coach at Union City, Indiana. But now Cooper is telling me about this. So he actually had a TV match at Oak Hill, West Virginia, TV, WOAY studio there. And I didn't believe him. He said, I know you wouldn't believe me. So I taped it. Taped it meant what he did was he called somebody on the phone there, and they had a tape recording of the audio because there wasn't any video then. So in other words, I said, oh, that's cool. So and then the next week, he says, well, I got you booked there. I said, great. So we went down, and then a couple weeks later, I had a couple other buddies that was dabbled in wrestling, Hoss and Boss Tweed. That was Ed Kerner and Chuck Goblet. They went to high school with me, and they both wrestled in college. Ed was at Concordia in River Forest, Illinois, and Chuck Goblet was at Illinois College. He went to 2 places, Illinois Valley Community College and then somewhere else. But anyway, so then we went down there. They was Hoss and Boss Tweed. But then I met this guy, B.B. Coleman. Within a couple of weeks, he's got me doing WWF TV. So now I'm running with the big boys. In the meantime, this old guy, Cooper knows, Don Pruitt, he got me booked. He would get me and Cooper booked for the Old Chic out of Detroit. So we do TV and work Cobo Hall that night in Detroit. So then Bruiser started using me. So I remember one weekend we worked Danville, Illinois. Me and Cooper drove all night, had Kansas City TV, and we drove to St. Joe TV, Missouri that night. The next day we worked at the old Chase Hotel there in St. Louis. And I said, oh, man, so I made twice as much money in that weekend as I did teaching school. So it was adios amigo for teaching school. And my brother, he's still teaching. He's a lifer up at Tippecanoe Valley. He's coached varsity basketball, football, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. I had that rough teaching thing of driver's ed and awakening. It's all right. But I didn't want to be an old school teacher.
Yeah.
So that was over with that. So I'm wrestling all around, and then there's a guy named Paul Christie. In the meantime, that guy named Don Pruitt, he booked me down to work the Christmas Spectacular down in Nashville. So I worked that, and I was Lanny Popo's partner. Lanny Popo was Randy Savage's brother. So in the meantime, Paul Christie tells me, he gives me Randy Savage's number and says they're going to go promote. They bought into with Emile Dupre, who ran the Maritimes, which is Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, and they was looking for some guys for a crew. So I called up Randy, and we shot the shit. The main selling point was I was about 22 and athletic and lifted weights, and I wasn't worth a shit wrestling, but I'd do whatever they told me.
Yeah.
So, in other words, attitude's everything in any job.
Absolutely.
So I got my foot in the door there. So I went like 4 months there. And now, this is when, and you wrestled every day. So after 2 weeks, I couldn't move. I was so beat up. It ain't like, oh no, you're working Friday and Saturday. No, it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if we was there 90 days, we worked at least 90 shows. You didn't have an off day because you were there to make money. The promoter was there to make money. He had bills to pay. He had television to pay, et cetera, like that. So, but anyway, so I was there, and then when I left, Randy got me booked for Nick Goulas in Nashville. Now, that meant the Nashville promotion had the TV in Louisville that my mom and dad could watch me on. So when first I started out wrestling my real name, and then in Canada they changed your name. So all of a sudden I was Hercules Samard, the non-French speaking French Canadian. then all of a sudden I get the bright idea to be the Disco Kid. So I had all the wrestling, the Carlton Hildegard, the shiver cape, the boots. I had the long black hair, and the big old disco box that would come out and disco dance and be tremendously the shits. But I was still working and learning. So, and this business is everything. It's all who you know. So Randy Savage, he booked me in Nashville. And then when I left Nashville, his dad booked me down to Mississippi to work for Frankie Kane, who was the great Mephisto, who was half-brother with Skandar Akbar out of Dallas.
Okay.
So now I was booked there, and Frankie Kane gave me a nickname. He gave me the name Rip Rogers because that was the name Eddie Graham had in Texas in 1955 because he said I reminded him of Eddie Graham, which is a compliment. So I'm working in Mississippi about 3 months, and all of a sudden Randy says, hey, what are these tapes? So we made 10 tapes at the Channel 41 WDRB studio under director David Tongue in Louisville there. We had family and friends, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They were the audience, but we had 10 tapes in a can. So in the meantime, we're working all these outlaw shows. And then Lanny Poffo, he was in wrestling in Portland. So he got me booked out to Portland for Don Owen. So I went out there, and Randy and them, they moved to Lexington because the first TV they had was Hazard. So I'm out there wrestling in Portland. So I'm wrestling in Portland and Vancouver, and there's Roddy Piper out there, the model Rick Martell's out there. I meet the Bushwhackers out there. Dutch Savage was out there. Ron Starr, Adrian Adonis, Jesse Ventura, all these guys was out there. So I'm wrestling out in Portland, and Randy says, he said to come back home. In the meantime, Piper had booked me into Los Angeles, sight unseen as a main eventer, because he liked me. Okay. But Randy said, come back. I said, okay, I'll just come back. So we ran the ICW territory, and I was with them 4 years, and we had television markets. It wasn't cable TV then. It was yet television markets. So we had markets in Johnson City TV, Beckley, West Virginia, which was Oak Hill, and then we had Hazard. It was Lexington, Louisville, Evansville, Memphis. Then we had 4 TVs in Illinois. Southern Illinois all the way up past Springfield, Champaign, Urbana, etc. So we was basically running towns all the way from Beckley, West Virginia, all the way over to Gerard. And then we had TV in Mobile, and we had TV in Puerto Rico, which the stations were paying us for. And then we had 2 TVs in Montana. They were paying us for them. In the meantime, Ronnie Garvin, Professor Malenko, Bob Roop, and Randy Orton's dad had all started their own promotion in Knoxville, and Ron Fuller ended up leaving and going down to Pensacola because Knoxville's a territory. But when they quit, they got in with us, so they were part owners of ICW, along with being the Poppos and George Weingroff. So we had a crew, and I remember at one time we actually had 3 towns running on a Saturday night. Which to think of it, that was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because now what happened was we were hungry, but we didn't have the promotion experience. But the person who's going to win the battle is if you have the strong TV in the good time slots. We always had the TV time slot that wasn't as good and on a secondary station. But we would work harder, and we didn't give a shit. We promoted against Fullers. We promoted against Goulas. We promoted against Jerry Jarrett. We promoted against the Sheik. We promoted against Dick the Bruiser. We promoted against Bob Geigel or Atlanta all the time. We didn't give a shit. We just ran goddamn towns. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And a lot of guys started with us. Crusher Broomfield started with us, who ended up being Akeem. And he come to us as Crusher. His name was George Gray, and he come in as because Ernie Ladd was a buddy of Garvin, and he come in to scout him. So when I left ICW after working in Louisiana, Garvin got the book down there, but Ernie had seen me. George Weingroff ended up going to Louisiana. Doug Vines, Jeff Sword, Lanny Poffo, a whole bunch of guys ended up going there. But then you would learn as I'd work in Louisiana, and then I got booked for Fuller in Pensacola, and then I worked for Ole Anderson when the Road Warriors was leaving to go to the AWA. Hell, Ole called me up and said, hey, I want you to be my national tag team champion. I didn't know Ole from Boo. I said, well, okay. So I went there with him so I could be on that Atlanta cable. And how I got the job was Bob Armstrong had worked for Ole for years in Atlanta, et cetera. And Bob, when I stayed there 11 months, and then it's time to move on, because this is when you had the weekly towns. So we were running in out of the Southeastern. We were running like Birmingham every Monday, Mobile every Tuesday, Montgomery every Thursday, Dothan TV in Dothan every Saturday, and Pensacola every Sunday, and then a spot show in there.
Okay.
So in a year, they've seen your act 50 times. So it's hard to be evil that long. Pretty soon they start sort of laughing at you and know you ain't going to whip nobody's ass. and they start liking you. So I never wanted to be a good guy, so I get the hell out of there. So I worked for Ole. Then after I worked for Ole, Crockett bought in, and then I left there and I went to work for Wahoo. Then after I worked for Wahoo, I went and worked for Jerry Jarrett, and then I went from Jerry Jarrett's to, let's see, then I went back to Fuller's, and it was Continental then. So then I moved into Birmingham. And then after that, I was the booker for Bob Geigel in Kansas City. And then from there, I went, I went to South Africa. Then I went to Japan for the first time. I went to 88, I didn't wrestle in the States. And in 89, I didn't either because I was in Puerto Rico all year. I would just come home to Seymour and run a show at the high school. I remember the first 3 shows I ran once a year over Christmas break. And King Carl Von Dilligan, local legend there at Seymour, master of everything or jack of all trades and master of none or whatever. He would help me promote the towns, and he was a teacher there. And he loved his wrestling. So I had 3 shows there at the high school over Christmas break, and it did 1,000 people 3 times in a row, which was unheard of.
Yeah.
Now people be shitting their pants getting 300 people, but I'm just advertising wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the first time I remember we had no stars. The second time I brought in Ronnie Garvin and Iron Sheik, and I learned my lesson because I drew the same and spent a whole lot more money. So I said, them big-ass names didn't mean fuck all. So, and then I remember bringing Mick Foley in, and he didn't draw. We was off Atlanta TV and everything.
Oh, wow.
But no matter what, it's a crapshoot. I do the same thing every time. Hell, at one time I had a blizzard. The day of the show, 11 inches of snow. The next day it was gone. Unbelievable. but we had such a good advance that we had no walk-up, but it didn't matter. A lot of people didn't make the show, but we had the show anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, worked that gimmick, and then I started working for, Ole was running WCW, so I went to Austria and Germany and Japan again and Korea and the Maritimes. So 92, I hardly worked the States. But Ole was there and Bill Watts was there. And I started running towns for Ole. So I was actually getting some dates, and I gave me like 5 days, and I'd run 5 shows. So, hell, that was great for me because, hell, and he said, and you need to get, and every job you get paid for. I said, great, I ain't hiring nobody. Hell, I was working the first match, then I was the agent, I was the booker, I was the promoter. I rang the bell, got paid for ringing the jackets, got paid for now. So I was doing everything, right? Then I got my per diem and got a mileage. Shit, I was in hog heaven. And I was doing good for they hired that damn Eric Bischoff, and he fucked everything up. He said, I'd rather run the Istrodome and lose $250,000 than let them know we're running a high school. I said, well, you're a dumb fuck. I said, you'll bankrupt that son of a bitch. He did. And so you got to spend it with your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he didn't give a shit. He just wanted to be a buddy with all the boys, which if I was in his shoes, I would have done the same thing probably. And he wanted to buddy up and have a good time, so he made himself some money, got some notoriety. He wrote a fucking book, still over from it, and had a nice little run there. And then the shit goes on and on.
Yeah.
And I've been with OVW 20 years. The last time I was on the road was I worked Dupre's 4 summers. The last time I was there was 97. Bad News Brown, Bad News Allen was there. Rick Martell came in, and then a young Edge and Christian. They were the rookies. They were the greenhorns there, and met them there. But then I started teaching wrestling on OVW, and I've been doing that ever since on weekends.
Yeah.
Now, when OVW was developmental, I was the they got the big performance center now. Now what they use OVW as a testing ground to see how it would work. So now they got 10 times the facilities, and I don't know how many coaches, etc. But hell, I did everything by myself.
Yeah.
If they wanted, I did everything. I was there every goddamn day, and I lived in Indianapolis. So I was commuting to Louisville every day to teach WWE.
Oh, wow.
Now, in the meantime, they wouldn't give me no insurance. So I had to actually get another job. This is the great big WWE, right?
Yeah.
So I'm driving there. So I get a job at UPS in Indianapolis. So to make a long story short, I got hit and run, left for dead by some woman that worked there. So now my hips are all messed up. So, but I make it to work to OVW the next day. So I'm teaching Batista and John Cena and Brock, Shelton Benjamin, all these guys, all these big stars there. And eventually it was 63, but then like 64 guys that walked through the OVW doors, started beginners class, got jobs with WWE, TNA, or ROH. Now, I got their foot in there, and then it's up to them to keep it in there because the wrestling business, you can get fired for being too good looking, wrestling too good, talking too good out of jealousy. And that's just the way the goddamn thing is.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, I said, this ain't like the Olympic trials. The top three make the team. You can be the shits, and somebody can like you, and they can give you a job because you're no threat. And that's the way the wrestling business is. And I said your competition is like football. You don't have 10 quarterbacks on the team. Your competition's the other quarterback. But in wrestling, it's a race thing. We have so many white guys, so many English guys, and we got TV in Germany. We got to have our Mexicans. We got to have our Puerto Ricans. We got our limit on so many blacks because we're worldwide. Now they're going to go to China, so now they're going to have Chinamen on there. And that's the way it is. So when you wonder, it's like an NFL football team. We don't have 20 quarterbacks. We carry maybe 2, maybe 3, and that's it.
Yeah.
2 tight ends, 3 tackles between the 2 positions, 3 guards, etc.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. So in the meantime, I got 2 hips put in. And struggling with that, but it's better than it was, and brings us up to now. So it's 2017. I've been in the wrestling business 40 years, seen a lot of shit, beat a lot of places, wouldn't have traded it for the world. And I'm sitting back there looking, going, holy shit! Now I got to remember, I didn't go to no wrestling school, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit! And here I am giving Nick Bockwinkel a finish.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, I look back and go, Jesus Christ, And that's like when I lived with Randy about 4 years. So we're watching the Memphis TV, and he sees Kevin Sullivan on they had a bodybuilding footage on there. So fucking Randy, he was nuts. He won the competition with everything, whether it be playing cards, running a race, throwing a football, or whatever. And if you beat him, he'd want to fight you and everything else. And me, I was too stupid to just let him win. Hell, I could beat him and then laugh at him and he'd be getting my ass. He was the most intense guy I've ever met in my life for shit like that. But then I started bodybuilding. So if you know anything about bodybuilding, I didn't take no steroids. So I'm at a disadvantage. But I've been training. I'm OCD and half fucking nuts. So I ended up getting in 12 contests in 18 months, which is impossible, but I did it anyway, and won 2 contests on no steroids, and then I still train to this day.
Wow. Very, very dedicated.
Well, just fucking nuts, I guess.
So, I do want to ask you a question though, because you kind of alluded to it a little bit shortly, but something I have noticed about you is that you're very very outspoken about the state of modern wrestling. But,
it's a shit. Are you kidding me?
So, what do you see as the biggest issues? Let me ask you that.
There isn't any issue. The problem is Vince McMahon changed wrestling with what he wanted. Now there ain't no poking in the eyes. There ain't no wrestling. There ain't no heat. It's a joke. He got on there. Not only did he tell, he showed everybody how it's done, which is behind the scenes shit. But then he gets mad when it don't draw. Oh, we did it. Oh, we're doing this big angle, but you already told him it ain't real.
Yeah.
So it'd be like watching a Rocky movie, and now it's just a movie. So you used to go into shit. I had the guns pulled on me twice. I got fucking knife. I mean, you'd be fighting your way out of buildings and everything. And what an adrenaline rush that was. But that was the way wrestling used to be. And it would be like an IU Purdue basketball atmosphere. It was with the good guy, the bad guy. I mean, they wanted to kill that bad guy. And the good guy, then girls would be crying and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now you go in there, and it's like the Globetrotters are in town. Or hey, the Ice Capades are here. And now it's an exhibition. Now it's just like a joke. It's a rib. And you got to remember, when we had the territories, now you go into Memphis, and a lot of times you get something hot, you do 8,000-9,000 people on a Monday night. Now WWE can't go to Memphis and do that twice a year. They took all these towns that we used to go to, like New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, all these different places that were weekly towns. Now they do them once a year, twice a year. All these places that were geared to, draw 5,000-6,000 people on a week, and now they go once or twice a year and do that. And TV's all a rib because they can give away 10,000 tickets, and it looks like it's healthy. Then they adjust the seats, they adjust the cameras, blah, 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 and it looks healthy on TV. They can pipe in sound. You think, oh, this is Shangri-La.
Yeah.
It's basically a half-empty building. They give away all the free goddamn tickets, so it's never as you think it is. There ain't nothing in the wrestling business that's real that you think it is.
Yeah.
It's show business.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't, if I was breaking in today, I would have no interest in being a wrestler. It's just, when I got in, I didn't know if it was real or not, and was ready to get my ass kicked, and didn't give a shit. So, and now you've got marks that think they know fucking wrestling because they watch TV and they subscribe to some newsletter or the Insider or whatever's on the goddamn internet. That'd be like me. Oh, I watch NFL every week, and I'm a member of fantasy football, and I played flag football at the boys' club in the 13 and 14-year-old league. So, so I know football. So they're wanting to tell me a fucking opinion. I mean, if somebody cooked hamburgers at McDonald's for 40 years, I think you know about hamburgers, and I wouldn't have an opinion on it. But this is the world we live in, and now the wrestling business has basically been destroyed. There used to be about 30 places to work full time. You could get a job and work almost every night and to the world, meet all these guys. Now you work for WWE. And because nobody grows up wanting to be a TNA wrestler or wanting to be a ROH wrestler or whatever. Japan ain't Japan anymore. Baba's no longer, Baba's dead, and Inoki's not around like he used to be. So Japan ain't Japan. Hell, when I worked in Austria and Germany, hell, I worked in Hanover, Germany, 70 days in a row in the same building. And it was just unbelievable. And now everywhere in the world, wrestling's pretty much dead now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had known that, and you're going, well, hell, I could work for the Tampa promotion. I could work for Atlanta. I could work for Louisiana. I could work for Fritz in Dallas. I could work for Joe Blanchard in Amarillo. I could work, in San Antonio. I could work for the Funks in Amarillo. I could work for Paul Bosch in Houston. I could work for Bob Geigel in Kansas City. I could work for St. Louis. I could work for Jared Jarrett, Nick Goulis, or Ron Fuller in Tennessee. I could work for Jim Crockett. I could work for Vince Sr. I could work for Bruiser. I could work for Sheik. I could work for the AWA. I could work for Gene Kiniski in Vancouver, Stu Hart in Calgary, the Rougeos in Montreal, and help with the Sheik in Toronto. I could work for the Maritimes with Dupre. And you go to Puerto Rico and Mexico. You go to Japan. You got the South Africa. You got the Austria. You got the Germany. England, they'd run 3 towns a night, and the world was on fire. Then WWE comes along. And now it's all who you know even more. If you're related to Samoans, oh, you're in. Hell, he's like half the goddamn crew's that. And I mean, it's a hell of a rip. You're a second generation wrestler. Oh, your kid's in, and they don't have to pay any dues. You got to remember, like when WWE first went big, they're hiring all these guys with about 10 years experience, which means they've had about 3,000 matches.
Yeah.
They've learned to work babyface, heel, all the places on the card. I need a bump man. I need a tag team. I need a main event. I need a semi-main event. I need a babyface this. I need a heel that. I need a chicken shit heel. I need an aggressive that's a brawler, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you were like actors in their roles going to the Universal Studio system, where you could handle everything. You could play horns, you could dance, you could tap dance, you do comedy, you knew serious acting. You were a well-read professional. Now, Vince went around and stole he didn't steal. He offered all these guys this money, tremendous amount of money, more than they could ever thought about making in their lifetime, to do the same old shit. And they were all great seasoned pros, so he's stealing all the main eventers. And in the meantime, he was such a smart businessman. I've never said he wasn't a genius as far as marketing and making money.
Yeah.
What I'm just sad that he killed the wrestling business. It was a business I loved, and but I tell everybody, I said, I'll teach you this old shit, which will make it a whole lot easier. You can call in the ring, and hell, I had guys have 2-hour matches, unbelievable. And then they made sense. But the people out there, they would have a clue to what I'm fucking talking about.
Yeah.
But anyway, now we're getting old football. We're getting ex-football players that get cut, that ain't their passion, but they're picking up guys, and they're green guys. You can't have green guys versus green guys, or you're going to get more green guys.
Yeah.
Hell, when I was starting out, it was the old 40-year-old leading the 22-year-olds, riding in the cars, explaining shit to them, how to do this, how to do that. What if the ring breaks? Everybody's got to be different. Everybody's got to have a different style. You got to learn all this shit. If my legs hurt, how do you protect me? How do you do all this shit? And you learn by failure and failure and failure. And then finally you get this shit. And hell, now they got their university, the performance center, and they got guys coached them, but they don't get in the ring with them. And what has happened now is there aren't any real good wrestlers. You think they are, but Vince has never told the truth in his life about anything, really, has he? So anyway, if you're the only show in town, if the only pizza we got is Papa John's, and the only beverage company is Coke, I guess I'll have a Papa John's pizza and a Coke, and that's your only choices. So now you've got USA, you got Raw, you got SmackDown, and they got all that other shit on TV. So basically, it's the same guys crammed down your throat for 10 years or more. Jesus Christ. If Elvis was on TV after 3 weeks, I wouldn't watch that son of a bitch again. It's the same act. But now they're catering to kids, and when you cater and with God damn it. Let me see how I can get rid of this son of a bitch. What's there? Okay, I got rid of it. That was my alarm. That must mean it's 1:45. Okay.
You're good.
Where was we going with this shit? Fuck.
You were just saying saying how modern wrestling is the drizzling shits.
Oh, well, the thing about it is you get guys that are good performers, and you think they're great, and they're not. Yeah. Oh, it's just like an example. Now, Russell Westbrook broke Oscar Robertson's triple-double record, right?
Yeah.
But now, I'm comparing this to real sports. Now you're thinking, when Oscar Robertson broke it, there wasn't a triple-double. It was just him playing basketball. Then all of a sudden they figured out after it was over. Now how good would he have to been? There's only about 8 teams in the NBA at that time. He's playing against the 8 greatest point guards, the 8 greatest, you know what I mean? It's like Wilt, Russell. You had the greatest players in the world. Some years there's no first-round draft picks making the team.
Yeah.
Now they got 30-some teams. So in other words, I'd much rather, I wouldn't want to face in his prime Moses Malone, but I would sure like to face Roy Hibbert. You know what I mean? So you're going to have nights off against guys that ain't worth a shit. But here's Oscar Robertson doing all this shit, and he's just playing ball. He's just balling. And now all of a sudden, guys everything's with the contract with stats. So, well, I need 3 rebounds to get a goddamn triple-double, right?
Yeah.
So now everything's an agenda. Double digits in rebound, double digits in assists, and they got all this shit down. So, hell, it's like through Oscar's first 5 years in the NBA, he almost averaged a triple-double. But he wasn't trying to. He's just playing ball. So, anyway, you're always comparing athletes in different generations. And it's like in basketball with LeBron. Well, 10 years from now, they'll be talking about somebody else. It went from, it's like we went from George Mikan, and all of a sudden, Elgin Baylor averaged 38 points a game one year. All of a sudden, Will Chamberlain averages 50 points a game. All of a sudden, Will Chamberlain scores 100 points in the game. Then all of a sudden, we got the ABA, and we got a 3-point line. Now all of a sudden, they take stats on steals. They take stats on, they always did assists. They always did rebounds, 3-pointers percentage, et cetera. So anyway, I'm fucking rambling as usual. How the hell did I get on this shit? It's your fault. You didn't leave. Come on.
All right. Well, hey, how about this? How about I ask you this? So we know, obviously, if anybody doesn't understand at this point, you think that wrestling now is, like we said, the drizzling shits. It's awful. It's kind of ruined for the most part.
No, here's the thing. Nobody knows it's awful except a few people.
Yeah.
It's like the basketball, oh, that guy got a triple-double, he's great. Wait a minute, his team lost by fucking 30. They ain't worth a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're sitting on here when they got the announcers saying, this is just a name, Daniel Bryan's the world's greatest wrestler. I never even seen him. I don't watch wrestling on TV. I haven't watched it since about 2002 or 3. I'll see something on Twitter or somebody will send me something, but I don't watch TV wrestling because it's just fucking. It'd be like Bobby Knight. He don't watch NBA because they try out. Every ball handler palms the ball. A jump stop is traveling.
Yeah.
They relax the rules because guys can't fucking score, and it's a fucking joke. It's like the NFL. You can't fucking play football. You can't hit nobody. And hell, we're brought up the spear technique trying to kill people. And now every play, it ends, every pass play, the defensive guy's looking for flag, or the offensive guy's looking for a flag. And it's a fucking rib. And you can't hit anybody. And, excuse me, the world's fucked. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And wrestling, you're thinking these guys are good. They're not. It's just the announcers saying they're fucking good. And who are they appealing to? Kids who don't know. They're appealing to kids. So what the hell's a kid know? So they're smart. They can say, oh, this guy's the greatest wrestler in the world. You know, and we got John Cena. Hell, he's worth $45 million now. And hell, he was at OVW, you know, and he can really work, but he's just doing what he's told. But I tell everybody, you learn all this shit, you get a job, forget it all, and just do as you're goddamn told. It's like you're working at McDonald's. They tell you take the trash out 4 times a day. Shut the fuck up, and that's all you got to do. Well, if it says, I want you to do this, and this, nothing else, what do? You do that exact same thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
And as long as they're making a profit, which they do, or they'll manipulate numbers or have an extra pay-per-view or fire some people or close a restaurant or do whatever, blah, 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 because they're publicly traded, they will always show that profit. And if you're showing a profit, and when you own part of the WWE, it'd be like the people in, or the Green Bay Packers owning the team, right? It'd be great. Hell, I own part of the Pacers. I own 3 shares or whatever, right? I'm an owner.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of cool and stuff. So anyway, I tell them guys, forget it all and just do what you're goddamn told.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. So hopefully everyone understands what you're saying. I hope people get what you're coming across. I'm not trying to say everything's the shits, but it is the shits.
What it is there's no, that's like, here's an example. They'll have an Iron Man match, which is like maybe an hour for them. Oh my God, an Iron Man match. I'm fucking laughing. One night in the Maritimes, I went an hour every night with a different guy just to do it.
Yeah.
Stay in shape and have a little creativity of highlighting the baby. You know what I mean? Just doing it. And they don't have guys that can call it the hell. We learned how to do promos in the car because we'd have to do it. We had all these TV markets. They'd say, okay, you got a Texas Death Match against Roddy Piper in Salem this Thursday. Go. We'd shoot your promo. They'd say next market's Eugene. Okay, you got a cage match against Eddie Adonis this Friday. Go. Fort Sports Arena. Okay, we got a battle royal, but you're working against Dutch Savvy, 2 out of 3 fall match, and the sleeper is legal. And then you just start talking, and you know how to do it.
Yeah. And
now they give people a fucking script, and before they do all this stupid writing shit, and they years ago you'd have squash matches on TV. So it'd be the TV guy, the guy on TV, and some unknown guy. All the unknown guys would killed. They get killed. So what you're seeing is all winners on TV, and then you might have a main event go off the air and involve a big angle or a brawl or whatever, and it'd be hot. The only time there'd be interviewed, there'd be usually 3 2-minute spots in there. So it was a big deal to see somebody talk. Now all they do is talk because the program's too long. Everybody knows the program's too long, but USA Network's paying them all this guaranteed money, so you got to do it. And you can't expose them in the wrestling business because you get sick of the same old shit. Because they're like about 2 territories put together that size. I mean, if I'm a mark and I have to watch somebody wrestle 10 straight years on a Monday night, Jesus Christ, there ain't no way. But since they're catering to kids, they're hoping, well, we got a whole new group of kids now. And now he's an adult. He want to watch that shit.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about, just think about TV. We got Monday night. We got a work night, a school night. You'll be there for 6 hours. Like if they had Raw in Indianapolis, you'll be there for 6 hours. Getting in there, they got the darks for this, the darks for every programming they tape. Finally, they had the goddamn 3-hour Raw, which is 3 hours and 15 minutes. Then they had the television, or then they had the dark match event after that. So you're going in there at 5 o'clock, and all of a sudden you're getting out of that building at midnight, and you're going, what the hell happened to me? I ain't never going back to this shit. They got you for tickets. Your kids, you spent $150 buying fingers and pictures and whatever they were selling, right?
Yeah.
And you're going, they conned me. I ain't never going back to this shit. That's why when they have the TV and stuff, they can't go back because they kill a town because of, can you go to a movie and sit there for 6 hours? Hell, an hour 45, my butt gets numb. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to piss, so I want something to eat, or let me get the hell out of here.
Exactly.
You know. And wrestling used to be, no, you have basically the 2-hour show. Get them in, get them out, get them hot, and at the end, what a good time I had on that son of a bitch and heel. He's going to get his ass kicked next week, and I can't wait to come back. Hell, it's like years ago in Louisville, they'd run Louisville Gardens. It'd seat like 6,000 for wrestling with the ringside, and they'd shoot a big angle and have to go to Freedom Hall, which held 20,000, because they knew they did something hot. And this is when there was, it'd be like basically a 2-hour show, maybe 5 matches, and no music on the card or anything, no big talking or anything, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
And it was just an unbelievable atmosphere of good versus evil. And now it's let's just say it's not that way. And but anyway, it's not a very good product. They'll bring guys in, rookies versus rookies, so it's really the shits. And it's just, these are just names, but if I've seen John Cena wrestle Randy Orton, and these are just names, 6,000 times, and that's just a number. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
What the hell, right?
Yeah,
The smartest
exactly.
man in wrestling. The smartest man in wrestling is Brock. Brock got that limited. Brock makes that big money. But Brock's such a tremendous athlete. Jesus Christ. He played NFL Europe and didn't play college football. And then he got in that UFC and won their heavyweight title with zero experience, just doing whatever. And then when you got that kind of name recognition, he's making all this money and hardly has to work at all. And he's just laughing all the way to the bank and doing what the hell he wants to do. And it's just fucking awesome. And then Cena, who's done so well, Randy Orton, who's done so well. And then, I wrestled Randy Orton's, I was with his dad, and then I wrestled his goddamn grandpa, right? So I was there when Randy was born, when he was a baby, and lived in Lexington. So you got some history with these people, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you want to see them do good. And the thing about though in WWE or in any business, I'm just using this as an example. Some people get strike one and you're out for 10 years.
Yeah.
Let's just say Flair could go down the plane, buck naked, go and woo, and nothing ever happens to him. And it's like another person could get a DUI or whatever, and then they fire him. They make an example of him, and he ain't around for 10 years. They treat him like he's dirt because he got a goddamn DUI. Now I didn't drink, smoke, or do no coke or marijuana, cigarettes, or none of that shit. But I did my fair shit of whatever, just get, as I would say, mischievous. And with these phones today and all this stuff, the way the internet, shit, I wouldn't last 5 minutes. My mouth get me in trouble doing whatever, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So they're all under a microscope, and this what happens too. They've learned not to hire young guys because young guys are full of testosterone and they do stupid shit. Well, the older guys, they know, just shut up, go to your fucking motel room, do your fucking thing or whatever, and it's not going to be as bad where the other guys are getting in all kinds of trouble because they're just young. And that's the way it is. I mean, you're all, and I'd say, well, that's okay. You're in your 20s and you're stupid. And that's just the way life is. God didn't make you to be smart in your 20s. You're in your physical prime in your 20s, but you ain't got no brains. You know, that's why the president ain't 20, or you know what I mean. The leaders aren't 20 years old. They're guys with experience, and hopefully they got more experience.
Yeah.
And now I'm fucking rambling again. Okay.
All right. So let's do this. So we actually have some fan submitted questions, and they should be kind of interesting.
Okay.
So, first one, Rod from Somerset, Kentucky, asks that you tell us about Barry Windham's keys.
Well, fuck, I didn't know how many goddamn guys. Fucking Mick Foley. All these people do, they tell stories about me and put it in their books. They make money, right? Shit, that ain't fair. No, what was happening? No, we was down in Atlanta doing TV at Center Stage, and I'm in there taking a big shit. Next stall over is Barry Woodham. All of a sudden, he's cussing, yelling, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, Barry, I said, oh, man, I got to call home and get some. I said, Barry, what's the matter? He says, oh, I dropped my fucking keys in the shitter. And then he goes off to go look so he's going to call to get some keys. So I fucking go in. Hell, I had 12 dogs. So, and I've had to pick up dog shit in the house for and shit like that. So I just fucking go in, put my hand out, pull his fucking keys out, and then wash them off, whatever. I said, oh, Barry, I said, what would the keys be worth? He said, he pulled out a big load of money. I can't remember, it was $51, $61 or whatever it was. He said, here. And I said, well, here's the keys. He goes, what'd you do? I said, well, I just reached in. He almost barfed like Bobby. Oh, I can't believe you did that. Well, it wasn't no big deal to me, so what the hell, right?
Yeah.
But that was the key story about just dropping your keys in the shitter. You know, it wasn't like he had corn and runny shit. It was just a couple hard turds. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even have thought nothing about it. Wouldn't have charged him nothing because it wasn't life-threatening or anything. I didn't have to call home and have somebody set another set of keys and he'd be all upset or whatever. But that was the keys in the shitter store.
That's pretty good. All right. So, Rex from Columbus, Indiana says he recently saw a Raven stand-up show, and Raven had stories about Rip Rogers that he wouldn't tell for some reason, even while being a near open book about everything else. And he says that he would love to hear some Rip stories on his time with Raven.
Well, it was probably because, I met Scott Levy. He was Scotty the Body Anthony then, Raven before that, or Johnny Polo, or we was in Global in 1991. Now, I was doing WCW TV every week, some WWF TV, but I was on Global, and they were making me one of their top heel faction because I knew how to keep my heat, excuse me. I was good at this shit. So they teamed me up with Raven, and Buddy Rose was still out in Portland. Now, Buddy was just phenomenal wrestler, such a great mind for psychology as a heel leading a match. He was a top heel, and the territory was actually built around him as a heel, which was unheard of at that time. He was so good. And they had the weekly towns of Portland, Salem, and Eugene, and Vancouver, the every other week towns of Seattle and Roseburg, Medford. So you can't go out and do the same old shit. Yeah. You got to be well-rounded, and you got to keep in your book of what you did, so you have a different kind of match, a different kind of performance. You'll go back to the same old bag of tricks. He was so good, and so Scotty was out there and got to copy Buddy, and he was just a real smart guy. When I met him, he was 26. He was athletic, good-looking kid. Could really talk on the microphone. And they tagged me and him up in Global. So we had a real good. And then the other two guys was Mike Shaw, who was fucking Sing, who was Trucker Norm, Friar Ferguson, or whatever. The big guy was with a long time in Calgary, and he was about 360, and Mick Foley. And they had me and Scotty together, but we were sort of the same thing. But we just do, no matter what you just do as you're told, and that was it. But me and him, we were tag team, and when I was there, we was doing real well, and they had some big money mark supposed to be coming through, and they lost him, so all of a sudden the fly-ins wasn't fly-ins anymore, and they changed most of the crew, et cetera. But we used to be on ESPN. It'd be every day for like a half-hour show or something. Chop it all up. It was at the old Dallas Auditorium where I'd worked there for Fritz Von Erich in Dallas, what the Von Erich brothers were famous for. Yeah. And that was the Global. The Sportatorium was the Global Dome. But Scotty was a good kid, a hard worker, a real smart guy. And it was probably just a respect thing. Was probably all it was. Okay. It's like if you're alive, or I ain't going to shit on you and get you in trouble about doing something, right?
Yeah.
So it was probably like that.
Okay. That's good. I was thinking, is there some kind of crazy, I got the shit beat out of me by Rip Rogers, or
Oh, hell no. Hell, I can't fight. Get real.
All right. So next one, Roy from Folsom, California, would like to hear stories of you and ICW with Randy Savage. He said he uploaded some matches a couple months ago, and honestly, you were on the same freaking level talent-wise as Savage at that time.
No, what that is, now Roy is a great fan, okay? And he loves his wrestling.
Okay.
But Randy Savage was the greatest wrestler I'd ever been around. This guy was an honors student. He was a pro baseball player. He was so intense. He'd been smartened up in the wrestling business. Hell, my dad worked at the post office. And all I did was did what Randy said and would copy him. So what I was a reasonable facsimile of him. I was like Randy Light, but I had nowhere the experience, nowhere as good. And Roy's being real nice when he says that, but it's just like you know how a trained NFL coach can tell that guy has lost his step, and he'll cut that guy that was all pro 2 years before. They got that eye.
Yeah.
Wrestler guys that have been around, they can see it, but fans can't. You could learn shortcuts, which you use to get by when you have no more ability. I mean, there's talk of shortcuts. Oh, it's a big fans call a pop. I said, you want a pop? Go punch the manager, hit somebody with a chair, pull your pants down, a pop, cheap entertainment. Instead of building a story, booking backwards where it's like a movie and everything makes sense. There's an art to that. There's an art to going in. Hell, I was wrestling in Calgary, and they had 2 shows. So they said the one show, they said, go with this guy. I know you never seen him before until the other guys get there. I went an hour and 10 minutes with some guy. Never seen him in my life, and he was trained by a Mexican, so he worked the right side. If you wouldn't know anything about that, probably. But he worked the left side in pro wrestling, but Mexico had worked the right side. So all of a sudden I'm thrown in with some guy who's going everything backwards, but I'm laughing. But I said, I got this shit. I understand this shit. Don't worry about it. I'm a pro. This is all I ever wanted to do, and I've studied this shit. But Roy, I could not carry Randy Savage's jock. But I appreciate the compliment.
All right. So we have one last question. So it's from Monica from Charlotte, North Carolina. She asks, in 1993, you appeared in a video for Human Wheels by fellow Seymour native John Mellencamp. How did that come about, and what was that like?
Well, I was at home. I lived in Seymour at the time. I was at Crossroads Gym. His dad came in because they needed some weights. Hell, they were shooting the video about 2 miles from there. He says, oh, fuck. He says, Mark, you're home. I'll tell John you're here. He might want to use you. He says, you want to be in a video? I said, what are you paying me? He said, what? I said, are you fucking ribbing me? I'm on nationwide television. Fuck you. I don't want to be in his goddamn video. He has going to have to fucking pay me, buy me a buffet. He goes, okay. He started laughing, right? So I went out there. I said, and his dad says, John, you want to use Mark in this video? He goes, hell yeah, you look better than these guys we got here. So that was how I got into it. And he goes, why don't you? I said, I know what to do. Just shut the fuck up. He started fucking laughing, right? So I just jumped up on the thing and started fucking posing. And he said, now you fucking edit that to your fucking music, however you do it in your way, because I don't know your business and you don't know mine. He said, yeah, that's good. He said, what my dad say give you? He said, $50, a bottle of baby oil, and a buffet. So that was how I got into Human Wheels video. How's that?
A buffet, a bottle of baby oil, and $50.
Yeah, And hell, I was in and out of there in 15 minutes.
Hey, that's a pretty good deal for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as we wind down this interview, we just want to ask you, do you have any social media where people can follow you and keep up to date with you?
Oh, shit, on my Twitter, Hustler2754.
All right. So, first...
That was when I was born. February 7th, 1954. So it's at Hustler2754.
All right.
As you know, I'm quite controversial on there. and I don't give a shit. And you try and get smart with me, I just block you. Fuck you. I ain't here to follow. I follow people that I know, and mostly they're all just from the wrestling business. And I said they've already exposed the business, so I might as well show them how to do it right.
Yeah.
So that's the way it is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
At Hustler 2754, baby.
All right, everybody, go follow him. Check him out. Read his Twitter. I promise you, you'll have some laughs, and it'll be awesome. Also, we were going to bring it up because we actually saw this the other day, but we did see that you had a GoFundMe.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's still on there or whatever.
Okay.
I'm a damn, well, hell, I had the damn hip operations, blah, blah, blah. Then I had the old, I had the 2 cars with 225,000 miles on them, and one of them died, so now I got the one car with 224,000 miles on it, so just trying to get by. Life ain't the way you think it is, you know.
Yeah.
It's like when we used to wrestle, we made money, and it was consistent money, but it was like any job. It's like when I was a kid, guys played Major League Baseball, and then when the season was over, they got a job.
Yeah.
And that's the way all the sports was. You had to get another job, and now these guys make so much money in all the sports. And even in pro wrestling now, if you're one of the chosen few, my God, you make all this money. But we wouldn't even have dreamed of that kind of money. And then you get hurt, something happens, a catastrophe happens or whatever, and all of a sudden you're trying to make partial payments on the electric bill and whatever.
Yeah.
But but that's just life.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I had $20 million, I'd probably be eating the food, training the same way. I'd have the same goddamn clothes on, and a car was just to get somewhere safely from point A to point B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd hopefully, and then you might go to McDonald's and not eat the dollar menu, or you might walk in and say, "Could I have this to eat?" and not look at the price. And when you got your electric bill, you wouldn't say, "Oh, how's my partial payment doing?" You just paid it son of a bitch. But I know this is stupid, but I never got into wrestling business because of the money.
Yeah.
I just knew I wanted to do it. So if you're a single person, you can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you do it and you got a family or whatever, you bring other people into it, and you stress them, you hurt their quality of life, and life becomes a struggle and shit like that. But anyway, that's not uplifting, and we was trying to have a podcast or whatever. And I did pretty good on the cussing because it's just sort of, you know, it's Columbus, Seymour, that's like home territory. So for me, I was pretty clean.
Hey, well, here's the thing. You know, we're here as a podcast to heal the real shit. We're not here to hear the fluff up stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wasn't even in character really for this.
Exactly.
If so, I'd have been. This was the most laid back I've ever been on a podcast. Usually I'm in character. Well, that's like Randy Savage. He was in character 24/7 every day, no matter what, in that voice, this or that. The only time I seen him break character, he had a little dog and it died, and I saw him cry. And that was the first time I ever seen him break character. Everything else, it was all gimmick, 24 hours a fucking day. And it was just like, it'd be like Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky all day, right?
Yeah.
Or Sylvester Stallone playing Rambo all day, right? Jesus Christ. And the thing about it is, when you're into this, you forget who you are because you're busy playing the character all the time. You know, Hulk Hogan ain't really Hulk Hogan, Jesus Christ, but he's that way. He's been Hulk Hogan longer than he's been Terry Bollea. Hell, I've been Rip Rogers longer than I was Mark Shira. So what the hell, right?
Yeah.
So it's different. I always say wrestling is the world's worst business. I've seen guys kill themselves over this business of thinking they were a failure. No, all you can do is do the best you can. It's not real. It's like John Mellencamp said, the reason they chose him was because he went to David Bowie's manager. He was the one that was a hillbilly redneck, that did they had black hair with a different kind of music, but everybody else was imitating the other guy. That's why they chose him. So life's a crapshoot, and you just do the best you can, and the journey's everything. And you're going to work just as hard wrestling in Columbus, at an armory, a high school, the fairgrounds, wherever you're at, as you would at WrestleMania. Oh, yeah. And it's like when I was wrestling, I never really looked at the crowds. I just was it's like you can't play Major League Baseball, hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, looking around the crowd. You're focused on that pitcher. When you're playing basketball in the NBA, you're focused on that hoop and whatever. You can't. Everything is focused, you know. But now I'm rambling again. But anyway.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you again, Rip, for coming on here and just, speaking your mind. That's really what we like to hear. So, first of all, thank you so much. And it's been a legitimate pleasure. Well, I hope you guys had a good time. Oh, Say hi to Dave for me. I hope you guys just continue to do good things. And if you love it's not that I don't, wrestling today, it could just be better. You know what I mean? It could be better. Oh, yeah. We got all these facilities, all this stuff you can teach people, but unfortunately, one eye is king in the Valley of the Blind. If Julius Caesar's running the Romans, you know what happens. But nothing lasts forever. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. So thanks a lot, and you guys have a good day. You too. Thank you so much, Rip.
Come crack open a cold one and let Old Manser tell you a story.
King of Big Dog Style, Larry's and Light Beer, the king of the trailer court. Your favorite wrestler of mine, me.
This is Warner's Wisdom with Mance Warner.
All right, people, here we go. We are live. The red light's on, the red button on. We are live right here on another edition of Warner's Wisdom. This is your favorite wrestler and mine, me, Old Master, right here, bringing you another edition of Warner's Wisdom here on the Dave Dynasty Show, on the Dave Dynasty Podcast. You'll be able to find this on the Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTuber, the SoundCloud, the I think I named all them right there, people. I don't know. You get it? You put the old hashtag, you retweet it, you throw it on Instagram, throw it on all the social media. Old Master right here coming at you again. Letting all you people know a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of the knowledge that Old Master got, I'll pass on to you. You do what you want with it. Maybe you use it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're too stubborn and you don't listen to Old Master. That's fine. That's on you. Ain't gonna hurt me. I'm always doing good, baby. Old Master climbing that ladder. Rung by rung by rung. Old Master climbing that ladder. Making his comeback, baby. Old Master come back up north. Vinnie Mac, Master coming, baby. I got there for a couple minutes. Then I took a big old swing on disco. Boom. Back on my journey. But that's okay. You gotta be positive. Gotta keep your head up and keep on walking down that road. Up that ladder. Old Master know what's going on right here, man. Now, Old Master, the king of Big Dog Style, Larry's and Light Beer, the master of the pop-up headbutt. You know who it is, people. It's Old Master right here coming at you, letting you know. Giving you the knowledge, giving you the little bit of knowledge. You can take it down the road to help you out. Now, let me slow it down here for a second. Let me explain to you people what's going on in this edition of Warner's Wisdom. Today, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of knowledge of just everyday things in life, people. A little knowledge that y'all could use. You can close your mouth, open your ears, open them eyes and peepers, and you can let it soak into your membrane, into your brain up there. Just everyday stuff. This ain't going to be about getting in the ring or wiping your boots off before you get in the ring or shutting up and listening and learning. This is going to be just everyday knowledge. Let Old Master start right here. First thing that you need people, all you people out there need to start doing. Everybody. This goes for everybody out there. It's very disrespectful nowadays. Old Master will see somebody. I'm driving around my beautiful truck out there. I just washed it. Sunny outside. Got my light beers. Had a couple beers. Washed my truck. Beautiful truck. Looking at it right now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, anywho. Old Master driving in his truck. Pulls over, gets out. Sees a old timer standing over in his yard. Old Master waves to him, right? What does this guy do? He don't wave back. He don't smile. He don't nod his head. Nothing. He no-sold my wave, man. You no-sell anything from Manser, I'm coming at you. And that's exactly what happened. Old Manser waves. He don't wave back. So I stand there for a second. Old Manser just standing there, and he's thinking to himself, what do I do right now? Do I go over here and catch me a case, catch me another case, take a swing on this guy? Do I walk up to him and hit him with the wackadoo? Do I give him a old wackadoo in his front yard? Do I do that? Old Master stopped and think about it and goes, hold on here, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to get locked up. I ain't trying to get locked up today. No. I got towns to make. I got paydays. I got to get to the pay window. I got shows to make. People pay money to see Old Master. I can't be getting locked up willy-nilly every week and then miss my shows. Because that means I don't get to get in my ring. That means I don't get to go out there and sell my T-shirts. That means Old Master don't get to go out there, throw them wackadoos, hit them pop-up headbutts, hit them regular headbutts, hit them big boots, hit them lariats. That means Old Master don't get to do none of that. So I stopped. Old Master stopped and he just thought to himself, Old Master, what are we going to do right now? Now I go, you know what? This is a moment where I could give a little bit of Warner's wisdom to this old timer right here. So I walk over there. And I proceed to cut a promo on this guy. And I ask him, did you not see me wave? Good sir, did you? And the guy, he don't know what to say because he ain't ever got nobody come up get in his face like that. So I reined it back in. I didn't beat him up, didn't hit him with no headbutts, didn't hit no wackadoos on him. I just politely explained to him how rude he was on this day. This is a Sunday. Old Master out here having his light beers. I went to church, had a good time. I ain't got no complaints, but this guy rude over here for no reason. So I just explained it to him. I gave him a little knowledge, a little wisdom. He could use it down the road. Maybe he does, maybe he don't. But Old Master felt better about the situation. Now, that's one thing people need to start learning. Have some class. Show some respect. You just be waving to everybody all day long. Old Master just waved to everybody. Put a smile on somebody's face, you give them a little wave, man. That's all it is. Makes your day better, right? That's the way Old Master looks about. Maybe it's just the way I was raised. I don't know. People are rude nowadays. Number 2. Any place you go walking around nowadays. You could be at a park. You could be at a bar. You could be at you go to a college campus and walk around. You can go to a car show. You can go to a gun expo. Maybe not a gun expo because everybody out there they having a good time. They ain't got to worry too much out there. Now, but what Old Master's saying is when you walk around, what does everybody do nowadays? Nobody's appreciating the good parts of the day, man. No one's letting it all soak in. Everybody's looking down at the ground, looking at the phone, or they're listening to music. Nobody has their eyes up, paying attention to what's going on in life, man. Old Master dropping some knowledge right here. You out and about, you out enjoying your day, you need to be walking around. You don't need to be listening to music. You don't need to be looking at your phone. Put that damn phone in your fanny pack. That's what a fanny pack's for, is to hold your phone, hold your goodies, hold your payday. Hold that marker when you got to sign your autograph. Now, Old Master wants you to put that damn phone away for a little bit. Open them papers. Pay attention to what you're seeing out there. Enjoy the day, people. That's what it's all about. Pop a couple of them goodies. Have a couple light beers. Go taking a walk, man. That's all you got to do. Go have a good time. Like I was saying, everybody nowadays, especially the young kids, they on their phone nonstop, 24/7, looking at their phone. They ain't paying no attention to nothing. They walk right in the street and get hit by a car. And then who gets in trouble? Stay on your phone, people. Pay attention. Enjoy life. You could be dead tomorrow. Old Master got to rein himself in every single day of his life because I'm walking around here and I'm seeing people staring at the phone, walking down the road, ain't paying no attention. People being rude. People don't want to open doors no more for nobody. Made me sick. That's why old Master out there throwing wacky dudes, punch people in the face. Hey, man, these kids got to learn some way. They don't want to listen and learn. Then I just throw out ass whoopings, put boots to them. Got these beautiful boots on right now, so I put boots to them. That's the way it goes. You learn something. This is the way it goes, man. Old Master out here dropping the knowledge on these kids. And on some old timers, too. Old rude son bitch over there. Nah. Like I said, it's a nice day. I've done washed my truck. I got my light beers. I'm going to go back to having a good time out here. I just had to drop a little bit of knowledge in here. Don't be so damn rude. You should wave if someone waves at you. Or maybe just go out your way and you just wave at everybody, man. Jesus Christ, I'm out here teaching stuff I shouldn't have to teach to people. Stay off them phones, man. Don't be walking around on a nice day staring at the ground. Put that head up. Get that chest out. Don't be walking around and acting like a damn goof, a dummy, a bozo. Okay. Old Man's going to get off here and get back to doing some yard work out here. Got my light beers. You know how it goes on a beautiful Sunday like it is right now. Okay. Old Master done dropped the knowledge. You people take this, put it on the YouTube, put it on the Twitter, the Instagram. All that business right there. Retweet it, hashtag it, whatever you got to do. Old Master bringing the facts to you, people. Bringing the knowledge. Just take it, people. Run with it. Use it in your week. Your week may be a little bit better. Ain't going to be as good as Master because Master number one, baby. Top shelf, A1. Ain't no one stopping Master, baby. On my ladder, back up to the tippy top. Master come back, baby. Master's come back up north. Until then, another edition of Warner Wisdom here on the Dave Dynasty Show. I'll be back next week bringing all the knowledge you people can handle, man. Just take it and run with it. Open up them eyes, people. Pay attention out there. Okay, Master out, baby. Master got hit the road. Get back to your yard work. Drink these light beers. That's the way it goes.
Visit our friends at the Masked Republic. Go to luchaloot.com and luchashop.com and use the promo code DYNASTY for exclusive discounts.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. Thank you once again for joining us. Listening to that amazing interview with Rip Rogers. Checking out the wisdom from Mance Warner. Like we said, go over to our YouTube channel. Check out all the stuff we have posted on there, including some old episodes of WWA television, All-Star Championship Wrestling from Indiana, featuring Dick the Bruiser and many, many, many other Indiana and Midwest stars from the history. We no profit, no nothing. We don't own anything or whatever. We're just sharing what we have because there's not a lot of it available out there in this way. So we're gonna share. We're gonna help spread the word, and we'd like for you to do as well. Let's show the whole world that Indiana wrestling is great. A lot of talent there now, a lot of talent there from the past, and a lot of talent looks like for the future. So let's share it and help spread the word. Like we say, let's put a little positivity back in pro wrestling. We thank you for joining us. Make sure you visit DaveDynasty.com and follow us on all of our social media links and share everything. Help spread the word. Let's build some community here. Let's build a sense of Indiana wrestling community, courtesy of the Dave Dynasty Show. If you have any feedback or any questions for us, any comments, suggestions, whatever you may have, you can contact us through any of those social media links or drop us an email at dave@davedynasty.com. Until next week, this is your host, Dave Dynasty. We will see you soon. And be good, be safe, and keep on growing.